Hi everyone, my name is Dana Berger. I'm a professional actress and acting coach in New York City, and every year I coach students for their performing arts high school auditions. Some of you may have seen some of my other videos on this channel. I have info videos about the process, and I always like to keep making more because people find them helpful. So today I wanted to talk about two things. A special thing that you should think about when you're rehearsing your monologues, and a very important piece of information you should have when you audition in the room. So what I want to talk to you about is your scene partner. Monologues, hopefully, do not exist in a vacuum. Your monologue should be a person speaking to another person. Yes, you're the only one speaking in the monologue, but there is a person that you should be talking to. And at this point in the preparation process, you should know who you're talking to, what your relationship is to them, and I'd really like you to get specific about this. I want you to imagine what this person looks like. I want you to imagine what your history is, and I really want you to imagine how this person is responding to what you're saying in your monologue minute to minute, every second. When we speak to a person in real life and we're trying to create an effect on them or get something from them or achieve something in the moment, we are always perceiving and clocking how this person is receiving what we're saying. If I wanted to convince my mom to, I don't know, take me out to a fancy dinner, I would be giving her all the reasons why, and I'd be looking to see, am I convincing her? How close is she to saying yes? Is she totally unconvinced? And based on how she is responding, that's going to influence what I say next and what I do next. That's a pretty simple example, but you get what I'm saying. So in your monologue, you have this person that you're talking to, and they're going to be responding to you, maybe not verbally, but certainly physically, and you're going to be reading their emotions and their reactions on their face. And so what I'd like you to do is really imagine moment to moment how this person that you're speaking to is responding to what you're saying. That doesn't mean you can't break eye contact with them, of course, but the point is to really use your imagination and create a really truthful scene with this imaginary scene partner. Because if this scene was playing out on stage in real life, there really would be a person there receiving information, and you'd have somebody to work off of. But because in an audition we have this very special situation of doing a monologue alone, you have to create that circumstance. You have to create the scene for yourself. But it really is a scene, and you should still consider it a scene, even though you're the only person talking. If you have chosen a monologue where you have taken out the other person in the scene's lines and sort of like put together your character's lines from paragraphs in a scene, like sort of cut and pasted, that's totally fine. But it's actually a gift to go back and look at the other person's lines in between your lines in the monologue, because there's a lot to be mined from looking at what they're saying, because your lines are responses to what they're saying. A really great acting exercise is to get a partner, maybe a family member or a friend, to read the full scene that your monologue is from with you and let you do the monologue in the context of the scene. Because every time I do this with my students, they have all of a sudden this new sense of truthfulness and awareness of what the scene is about and the emotions of the scene and what their character really wants in the scene. So that's a really great exercise, and I really recommend it. Now, something else that I would like to talk to you about is where to look when you're actually doing your audition. Some people think you should look straight into the eyes of the people sitting behind the table watching you. You should not do that. If on the off chance somebody does ask you to look straight at them, of course you should follow their instructions. But for the most part, most people watching you in audition would prefer that you don't look straight at them. They'd prefer that you don't use them as your scene partner. And there's a couple of reasons for this. When they're watching you, they want to be taking notes about you, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They could love your performance. They could say, really beautiful beginning, or really great awareness of space or really great character work. But the point is that they need to remember who you are and what they liked about you. And so they're going to have to take notes and write during your performance. And if you're looking straight at them and using them as your partner, it's going to be pretty distracting to you if they suddenly look down and start scribbling away. It's going to be a little bit hard to fully stay in character and in the moment with this person if they're writing, and maybe suddenly you're like, what are they writing? Or am I doing a good job? Or whatever. It will probably distract you and break your concentration. So the way to avoid that is to pick a point that is on level of your eye line, maybe a little bit behind them against the wall, or if you're doing a monologue that you're sitting in, if I'm the person behind the table and then there's another person next to me, maybe pick a point or an area between us to put your scene partner and then do it there. That works as well. But pick a space where everyone can see your face and where you'll be relatively undistracted by the other people that are watching you, by their movements and by what they're doing behind the table, because that will really help you stay in the scene, stay in the moment, and really create the scene between you and your imaginary scene partner. What helps them also about you not using them as your scene partner is that they can feel free to feel like they're an audience just watching you do a performance, because if they were watching you in a play, you wouldn't be using them as your scene partner. You wouldn't be looking right into their eyes. And so we want to create the effect that your audition is a performance, because that's what it is. And you should feel proud of that, and you should feel like you're going in there to give a performance. So those are my tips for today. I hope you use them. I hope it's helpful. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to comment on this video and I will try to answer them. And I wish you lots of luck in your performing arts high school auditions.